let me just take you through what we have in the news bulletin. Later on, we'll take a look at what we have in the world of politics. That's on The Viewpoint. All right, right about now, let's head over to the news bulletin, where the resignation of Haiti Prime Minister, that is Ariel Henry, sets in motion to establish a transition council that will be tasked with appointing. Now, the decision was arrived at an emergency meeting of regional leaders of the Caribbean community in hopes to restore calm that is country rather. The latest development is one that security experts divide on whether or not Kenya should proceed with its plan to send police officers in the lead to this multi in the Caribbean nation. Timothy Kipnusu with the details of the crisis in Haiti.
Henry, who had been holed up in the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico after violence escalated following the signing of a reciprocal agreement with Kenya, opted to step down, setting the stage of the establishment of a transition presidential council.
We acknowledge the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry upon the establishment of a transitional presidential council.
The Transition Council will comprise of 2 observers and 7 voting members, including representatives from a number of political coalitions, the business sector, civil society, and 1 religious leader who will elect an interim prime minister. In relinquishing his seat, the PM thanked the people of Haiti and called for peace. The developments come just a day after Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki revealed the deployment of the police officers was in the pre-deployment stages.
Kenyan police officers will be just part of the multinational security mission in Haiti. Kenya is the lead nation, but there are so many other countries that have pledged to contribute troops. And this came from the mandate of the United Nations Security Council. So it's part of our international obligation.
The unfolding events have piqued the interest of security experts who are divided on whether Kenya should abort its mission or continue.
And we know that they say if Kenyan forces step in Haiti, they will do something different, what we don't expect. And our CS has come also strong and said we're going to go ahead. Basically telling you that CS's position, the president's position, is a position of advice. They know why they're saying what they're saying. There are a lot of background information, probably where we sit, we cannot be having. But we look at it from the face value, Haiti is a very dangerous nation.
A section of the experts warned deployment of officers will be a suicide mission, citing statements by gang leader Jimmy Barbecue Cherizia.
If you look at the situation there, we would think, from a security standpoint, that the best person to have given this intervention are people from the Caribbean countries, Jamaica, Guyana, Bahamas. Those people are used to that terrain that is there. Jamaica has handled this kind of a situation, so they have experience are better placed.
This, as others argue, the crisis is political and should be handled politically.
Haitian nation, basically, most importantly, needs a political strategy for it to be able to attain the stability that is required. For the last 2 years, every person in that government has not been elected. We have the Prime Minister being called de facto Prime Minister. No election has been done. Probably this could be the things that are triggering this levels of violence and so many other breakdowns in social defenses of that nation. And many other things could be.
Haiti has lacked elected representatives since early 2023, and its next election will be in the first since 2016.
All right, let's take a look at what we have in the medical field. The Kenya Medical Practitioners and Pharmacists and Dentists Union now maintains that they will begin and they will withdraw their services effective midnight today in the failed talks with the government. The union says that despite 2 meetings with the Ministry of Health, little progress has been realized, faulting the government for failing to meet most and some of the demands which do not require budgetary allocation.
Services across all public hospitals are likely to be grounded effective Wednesday midnight if medics make good their threat to down their tools.
Solidarity forever.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union says that despite issuing a 1-week strike notice, the government is yet to engage them in a meaningful way to unlock the impasse.
So come Thursday morning, there won't be any doctor in the Republic of Kenya where our membership and those whom we serve with the strike notice. And this is because despite our strike notice, there have been no attempt by the government to offer any concrete solution. We have attended 2 meetings that sadly have not yielded much.
The meeting was probably just a breathing contest because with no agenda, nothing was discussed. There was no metrics. There was no offer from that side. It was just Key and Mandazi offered. There were no decision makers. Kenyans should expect what happened in the 2017. Should expect that all public hospitals will be closed, shut, even if it's not closed and shut. But there will be no single doctor in the hospital. Whoever they'll be seeing in the white coats, those will be masqueraders from 12 midnight past 1 minute.
The union officials say that the government has failed to show them commitment, hence their resolve to resort to withdraw their labor.
Every meeting we are being told the same thing about lack of resources. One, we know that even some of the things we're asking for might not require immediate financial implications. Some of them will require financial implications in the next 2, 3, 4 months. For example, the posting of interns is something that we are ready for them to be posted and to be paid in June, July. We are open to that. The payment of school fees for master's students, we've told them that UON and more universities are government institutions. Just write for them a letter that let the students do their exams. We will pay because they are sponsored.
Among the demands is the posting of medical interns, addressing promotions, medical cover, postgraduate fee payment, study leaves and justice for KMPDU Secretary General Dr. Davji Atela, who was injured during protests on the 29th of February 2024.
7 years down the line, some of my members have died, some from suicide because of the frustrations that the CBA would have solved, you know. The problem of the Kenyan doctor cannot wait any longer.
Right now, leaders drawn from the designated 6 rift counties that were classified as disturbed and dangerous now claim that 74 people have so far lost their lives to bandits since last year. The leaders too now noted that the situation is worsening by the day, also say that the insecurity fueled by banditry attacks has seen 2,000 people displaced from their homes. The legislators who are now blaming security officers of laxity are now calling for a change of tact in permanently dealing with the banditry menace and restoring normalcy in the region.
An upsurge of banditry attacks in Baringo North and Samburu counties has disrupted the lives of thousands of residents here. Leaders drawn from these areas are now blaming security apparatus mounted in the 6 disturbed counties of laxity and inability to deal permanently with the criminal outfits.
But still, it is getting worse each and every day. Right now, I'm talking here. I've lost my 3 locations to the bandits.
If we don't solve issues of border, we will always try to be very cosmetic. Let us put border issue into perspective and say we solve it.
My colleagues from across South Sudan have decided to come and camp in Kenya with guns. Not just simple guns, these AKs that you see. Machine guns.
Making their case before the National Assembly's Cohesion Committee, the MPs drawn from Laikipia, Samburu West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo and Turkana say thousands have been displaced by the incessant banditry attacks, with tens more having lost their lives.
But every day we have buried so far 74 people, their livelihoods and livestock taken, including recently last week where we buried an elected member of the county assembly, an MCA.
The government recently deployed more GSU officers and armored personnel carriers as part of the escalated efforts to tame banditry in Baringo North, following an increase in the number of attacks, which have so far claimed 13 lives since January this year and led to over 2,000 families out of their homes. Learning has also been paralyzed in 5 schools in Baringo County due to insecurity.
Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Kithure Kindiki, has maintained that 21-day period for fresh vetting of second-generation alcohol manufacturers still stands. Kindiki, who met second-generation alcohol manufacturers in Nairobi, declined their pleas to ease the measure on grounds that they were suffering financial losses. The CS said that the government is willing to lose revenue to correct the ills that have so far resulted in loss of lives. Now, this comes as 221 people were arrested in Nyanza for failing to comply with the 25 directives spelled out by the government to curb the problem of illicit brew and drugs.
Tuesday at the General Service Unit Training School in Embakasi. The Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki held a meeting with the second-generation alcohol manufacturers following their outcry over the suspension of their licenses, among other measures. It is here that the CS reiterated that there is no turning back.
All the relevant agencies have been directed to make sure that this operation and the measures are in place. So far, we've registered huge successes across the country.
As you heard the Cabinet Secretary saying that we have 14 and a half days since it's now midday, going forward to ensure that we carry out this exercise and put in place legitimate businessmen and women whose products and production process does not endanger the lives of Kenyans.
Pleas by the manufacturers to ease the directives, citing huge losses, will, however, not deter the CS.
On 6th of March, all licenses that have been issued by county governments across the country, contrary to national law, namely the Alcoholic Drinks Control Acts, some are next to schools, next to residential areas. Those licenses are revoked and those places are shut.
Kindiki maintained the war on illicit drugs and alcohol was a national security issue and that the government will not relent.
But now this matter is no longer, it's beyond the normal functioning of any level of government. It's a national security matter. As government, we have been able to say that we are even willing to forego certain revenues if aligning our revenue and taxation system can help us correct the mess in this sector.
This as a section of the manufacturers supported the directives, citing an influx of illegal manufacturers responsible for the poisonous brew.
Na CS Kindiki nimesema tunakusupport, but let us do a proper inspection. Tuache kutuma watu tu, wewe funga, wewe enda nyumbani. Watu wako na pombe zao, walikuwa wamefungua mitungi, zinaharibikia huko ndani. And we'll be happy, sisi wenyewe, tukiwekwa kwa hizo inspections.
As events were unfolding in Nairobi, in Kisumu, Nyanza Regional Commissioner Flora Moroa issued an update on the ongoing alcohol crackdown in the region. Moroa revealed over 500 raids have been conducted since Thursday last week, where 221 people were arrested, over 20 non-compliant establishments closed.
And we intend to carry on with this operation until we clear our region of all the illicit alcohol, the drugs, and all narcotics.
All right, now to some sad news. Now, the mystery surrounding the death of grade 8 pupil at Joy Gardens Primary School in Tena Umoja Estate in Nairobi has continued to deepen, with now the deceased family rejecting the report of an autopsy conducted on Tuesday. Speaking outside Mama Lucy Hospital mortuary, the pupil's parents faulted the post-mortem results, claiming that the defendant's lawyers tried to manipulate the result. Joseph Wahungu has the details.
3 days after being reported to have jumped to his death from the rooftop of his school in Umoja area, Nairobi County, the family of Wesley Njiru is crying foul over a post-mortem report released Tuesday. According to 3 pathologists representing the government, family and the school, who conducted the post-mortem at Mama Lucy Hospital mortuary, as a result of a fall from a high surface, which resulted in internal bleeding. However, the boy's father and mother vehemently opposed the post-mortem results, claiming the death of the minor did not coincide with the autopsy report.
That's one thing. There is also a compromise because of one thing. If they wanted to be objective. They could have at least let the person who is leading the medical school here, she's a professor and all that, she was so rude to us, actually, even when he had briefing. And we objected, actually, from the word go.
They also said there was no blood at the scene of the crime where the report stated the pupil fell from.
The post-mortem, they're saying that there was blood on his clothes. But for me, like I saw him when he was laying there on the floor, there was no single drop of blood. So that we rule it out.
However, lawyer Dunstan Omari, who is representing Joy Gardens Primary School, maintained his clients are innocent.
Bila shaka, uamuzi wa madaktari watatu umedhihirisha kwamba hakuna lawama wenye shule na walimu wa shule wahusika katika mauaji.
This as 2 directors of the school and 3 other people remain in custody pending a probe into the case.
Now to some politics now. Kiharu Member of Parliament, that is Ndindi Nyoro, now claims that his political forays across the country has all the blessings of President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. Nyoro, who was the chief guest at a bursary meeting in Kabete constituency, attended by over 10 legislators from Mount Kenya region, said that Kenyans should not read much from his recent high-octane political meeting, saying that he was just playing his oversight role as the chairperson of the Budget Committee of the National Assembly.
After leading a high political meeting in Uasin Gishu County, the Kiharu MP was in Kabete constituency on Tuesday in an entourage of another battalion of MPs in a political mission downplayed. Nyoro, this time with over 10 lawmakers allied to Kenya Kwanza, majorly drawn from the Kiambu County, in a bursary meeting hosted by a local member of parliament, Gadua Wamashukuru, to assist needy students in the area. It is here that the Budget Committee chairman in the National Assembly steered clear of a proposal by a section of MPs to back him for the leadership of the Central Kenya region, saying countrywide tours had blessings of both President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua and nothing much.
Mheshimiwa Jematia, Mheshimiwa Alice Ng'ang'a, my other sister, msingi ambao tunaweka kwa sasa kwa serikali ni kumaanisha kwamba wale ambao wanakuja nyuma yetu watakuta msingi bora tuweze kusonga mbele kama taifa.
Migori County woman representative Fatuma Mohammed saying the lawmaker was now ripe to take a national position in the country's leadership.
Nilinyoro mimi sio wa Kenya Kwanza, lakini mimi nikikuangalia mimi ningekuwa kwa hiyo chama, bendera yako ningepeleka mbele, unafaa. Hiyo ni mambo yenu watu wa Kenya Kwanza, mtaona mimi nimeongea kama mama, si ndio? Si mama uona mali. Na kwa sababu najua kubeba mimba miezi 9, kikiniuma najua kile kinaniuma. Mimi huyu mtoto namwangalia na macho mbili yangu ya 3 ya 4 nimeachia watu ya Kenya Kwanza. Muone vile mtamfanya, lakini kana akili.
Nyoro also called for patience among the intern teachers countrywide as fund to absorb all the 26,000 on permanent terms had been considered in the 2024-2025 budget.
Itahakikisha wale interns walichukuliwa pale awali 26,000 interns wataajiriwa on permanent and pensionable terms. Na tumeongeza pia pesa ya kuongeza walimu wengine 20,000.
Katika serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ambayo tunaongozwa na rais wetu mpendwa William Ruto, sisi tumekubali tusaidie yeye kufanya kazi, tusaidie hustlers. Hapa tuko hapa kwa sababu ya masomo.
Intern teachers totaling to 26,000 across the country are set to gain employment on permanent and pensionable terms as the money for the cause has been allocated in the budget of the financial year 2024 and 2025.
Some business now. Short stay rentals platform Airbnb has announced a ban on surveillance cameras inside the rental properties beginning May this year. Now, the move is meant to address the privacy of customers and to streamline the company's policy on security cameras. This comes amidst calls to regulate the operations of the rental accommodation and install CCTV cameras inside Airbnbs for security reasons.
The incident
incidences in short-stay rentals in Kenya hit headlines in January this year. This is despite the mother company Airbnb distancing itself, saying the properties where the crimes took place were not listed on its platform. Kenyans on social media have been pushing for installation of CCTV cameras inside the rental properties to curb the crimes, while others express concerns over what appear to be concealed cameras in Airbnbs, citing breach of privacy.
There's nothing wrong with having cameras in public spaces, but in private space, it's a bit it's a bit intrusive. Issue of crime. The way it's being presented is like the sector is to blame for the crime. Criminals are criminals, and they'll always take advantage of opportunities. So I think we should be looking at how do we avoid or mitigate against such criminal offenses.
Today, Airbnb is introducing a ban on surveillance cameras inside rental properties listed on its platform. The changes to the company's policy will come into effect on April 30th. The move is set to improve the privacy of rental customers and to streamline the company's policies on security cameras.
But on the part of the hosts, it will mean that they have to look for other ways to address security concerns, which are the primary reasons why cameras are actually installed, especially locally, where we've been having issues with security. It comes as a paradox because now it means that the hosts have to look for additional ways to address issues of security and also to address just in case there's any theft or breakage within their units, how they're able to follow that up. So it might mean maybe on-site check-ins, on-site additional security manpower.
Airbnb does not allow surveillance cameras to be placed in private areas like bedrooms and bathrooms. The new rules will still allow the use of doorbell cameras and noise monitors in common areas. However, hosts must disclose the presence and general location of any outdoor cameras before guests book. The updated policy also bans the use of outdoor cameras that point inside properties.
It's a story that will elicit a lot of reaction. Now to some sports news now. The Ministry of Sports and the Kenya Revenue Authority are now working on a framework to shield Kenyan sportsmen and women competing in international events from double taxation ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympics Games. Kenya is expected to send a strong contingent to the Games slated for 26th July to 11th of August in France.
Kenyan athletes may soon get a reprieve from double taxation after Cabinet Secretary for Sports Ababuna Mwamba revealed that the ministry and the Kenya Revenue Authority are working on a way to ease the burden of Kenya sportsmen and women of being double taxed.
Our athletes have always raised the concern that when they win any earnings in foreign lands, they pay taxes at source. If you win something in Paris and you are paid something, it is taxed at source. And I'm delighted to announce that we have been working on a framework to shield our athletes, our sportsmen and women from double taxation. And we have finally struck a deal with the Kenya Revenue Authority and Treasury, which will, from now moving forward, protect our athletes from double taxation.
Namwamba disclosed this while unveiling the Preparatory and Management Committee for the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and at the same time gave an update on the ongoing process of selecting the official Team Kenya ceremonial Olympic attire.
It feels like this is a period where Kenya is showcasing itself, particularly now that we have the media here. It's showcasing itself to show that we've been working together as a ministry, the sporting fraternity, those that have other talents, creative economy, coming together to say, yes, let's see what we can showcase as Kenyans.
The Team Kenya will camp in the French city Miramas as they target to win more medals compared to Tokyo 2020, where they finished with a total of 10 medals, 4 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze medals.
For us, as part of the lead team of Team Kenya, to say thank you to Waziri and the PS because of making this process open, making it public, and making it engaging to everybody, so that when our Kenyans step out, do I say step out or ride out or ride in River Seine, it will be a reflection and the Kenyans will feel that they were part and parcel of that. So Connie will come and just take us through the technical aspects.
So far, 2 teams, Sports Malkia Strikers and Shujaa, have qualified for the Olympic Games, while para-rower Asia Mohammed and para-athletes Nancy Chelangat, Mary Njoroge and Wesley Sang have also qualified for the Paralympic Games.
All right, that does it for now on sports news and business on this particular day. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now we are taking a break, but before then, my guests are already in studio. I have got 4 gentlemen. Today is Ladies' Night, Wednesday, but I have to admit, I'm biased. Gentlemen, ladies, don't hang me. I beg you for apology, don't hang me. I've got Makali Mulu, Member of Parliament, Kitui Central, Mheshimiwa karibu sana. I've got Abraham Kira from Mosop, representing the great people of Mosop constituency. Mheshimiwa karibu sana.
Asante.
And Dick Maungu, all the way from Luanda constituency. Mheshimiwa karibu.
Thank you.
And the former MP, and he calls himself CS. He loves to tell you, kuna fununu hapo nje, socio.
I don't call myself I am.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. Kuna fununu, you'll tell us why. All right. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, so let's take a break and we come back. We know how we're going to do it. We are going to get into the viewpoint right about after this break. Stay with us.